Hey guys, today I want to talk about this whole new report from MSNBC, Trump crashing in polls after Hell Week, but Biden trails Clinton's 2016 edge, and how this is a little bit misleading. But before that, of course, this is my Discord server. I launched it just 2 days ago. I personally really do enjoy being in there, so make sure you join if you have not. I'd love to see more of you guys in there. It's at the very top of the description below. However, moving on, as you can see, Trump crashing in polls after Hell Week. This is definitely true. It was definitely a Hell Week for the president. I mean, he spent time in the hospital. He got diagnosed with COVID-19, of course. He had a horrible debate performance, and he had to cancel all of his events for the last week. So definitely not a good week for President Trump. And he did crash in polls basically everywhere. I mean, his numbers decreased in Arizona. Texas is now only a tilt state for the president, no longer a lean state. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania are now likely states for Joe Biden. I mean, he's decreased in Texas, Arizona. Biden has increased so much in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Trump is now down in Iowa, Ohio, Georgia, all of these states. He is also now down by an even larger margin in North Carolina. Biden now has a lean margin in North Carolina. He's also down in Florida by an even larger margin, also a lean state again by over 4% now, pulling under Joe Biden in the state of Florida. So definitely, Trump's numbers have definitely crashed this week. His popularity has not improved either. There really haven't been too much sympathy for President Trump catching COVID-19. However, Joe Biden's popularity has skyrocketed in the last couple of days. Joe Biden has never been more popular nationwide than he has right now. Not even during the Black Lives Matter protests, not even during the Democratic primary. Joe Biden has never been as popular as he is right now in the 2020 election. Of course, he was more popular just when he got out of office after his 8 years as the vice president for Barack Obama. He was, of course, more popular then, but now this is his most popular point in time in the last couple of years. So Joe Biden, this is the electoral map. I have given Trump the state of Texas just because I don't think this is a state that Biden's going to flip. So I want to take a look at the states that Biden has a huge possibility of flipping, states that Clinton all lost in 2016, and these are states that Clinton was doing pretty well in actually at this point in time. But I want to see why Joe Biden is not doing worse than Clinton. So Biden does not trail Clinton's 2016 edge is what I'm trying to say, and I'm going to show you why in this video. So the state of Wisconsin, Joe Biden leads by a whole 7.2%. And if we were to take a look at the polls in 2016 at this point in time in the race, so October 11th, as you can see, so this is not the greatest example of the point I'm trying to make here, but in the state of Wisconsin, Clinton did only lead by 6%. So this is true. Clinton is not doing better in Wisconsin than Biden, but Clinton, if you really want to take a look at her numbers here, she was at 45%. That's important. That 45% mark, or not 45% mark, but the fact that she was only at 45%, that is important, because really what Biden needs and what Clinton needed was 50% of the vote. If you're not at 50%, then there's going to be independent voters and undecided voters who are going to decide very last minute on who to vote on, and they're not going to vote for you. So Wisconsin, as you can see, Joe Biden plus 7.2, he is at 50%. So according to the polling average, if every single undecided voter, so that roughly 7% that is currently undecided, if they all voted for President Trump, Joe Biden would still win the state of Wisconsin. He still has a majority of the vote. And if we're to take a look at 2016, as you can see, in every single state, we're going to see this pattern in every single state we're going to take a look at. Clinton she did not do bad in the election according to the polls. She did not underperform the polls. Her margin definitely did, but the amount of the vote that Clinton was expected to win, she won that amount of the vote. It's just that President Trump did much better in terms of gaining that support very last minute. As you can see, Trump, 47% all the way from 40%. That was his RCP average. He basically jumped 7% from what his vote share was expected to be, while Clinton's numbers basically stayed the same. So Wisconsin currently is actually a likely Biden state now, as we said. That's very good news for Joe Biden. Moving on to the state of Michigan, 16 electoral votes, a state that was basically a solid state for the Democratic Party in 2008, but now is one of the closest states. It was very close in 2016, but this time I think it's going to be a lot better for Joe Biden than it was for Hillary Clinton. As you can see, Joe Biden plus 8.2%, and then taking a look at the polls from 2016, I think this is going to better explain my example here. the state of Michigan on the 11th of October. As you can see, Joe Biden plus, or not Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton plus 9.6% over President Trump. So yes, Clinton does have a larger lead, but as you can see, she was only up at 47.3%. If you were to take a look at Biden's numbers right now, he is up at 50.9%. Once again, Joe Biden has been able to reach that 50% mark. And if we were to take a look at the polls from 2016, Clinton, 47% was her average. She won exactly 47%. So the polls were not wrong in terms of how much of the vote share Clinton was expected to have. But it was wrong for Trump. Trump won much more than expected. And I mean, really, this wasn't much more than expected because as you can see, the final poll did show Trump up 2%. And this is just because at the very end, as you can see, Trump made huge gains in the last couple of days until the election. So this is all very good for President Trump 4 years ago. He was really able to gain basically most of the support that he needed to win the election in the final days of the election when the undecided voters finally swaying to his side, seeing that Clinton really wasn't too trustable of a candidate and honestly wasn't I guess they didn't see Clinton as honest enough, and I think that was honestly a huge problem she had. She did have a likableness issue as well as a trustworthiness issue for Clinton 4 years ago. So the state of Michigan is also a likely state for Joe Biden, and a state that Joe Biden is, of course, at a likely margin in, or not likely, but is at a likely margin in, but a state that he is at 50% in. That's what is important. That 50% mark is very important, and that is what Biden needs, and that is what Biden has. And in the final state right here, this is the final Rust Belt state from the blue wall that Clinton lost. As you can see, Joe Biden plus 7.2%. And he is at 51%. So he's polling the best in Pennsylvania than any state in terms of his percentage share of the vote. So there's, of course, still at 6%. And if they still have vote for Trump, Biden still wins Pennsylvania. So if we take a look at the RCP average from 2016, as you can see, October 11th, this is showing Clinton up a margin of 9.2%. So again, a larger margin for Clinton than Biden right now. However, her average at this time, it was really around 49%. And at the very end, she actually did overperform. Her numbers did drop since her peak period at this time, where she led by 9%, but she only led by 2.1% at the very end. As you can see, all these final polls, Trump did do good. And this may be from Trafalgar Group, but it still does show Trump ahead in these polls because these other polls, some of them are right leading and more biased towards the right, and none of them show Trump leading. So it really was the end. And as you can see, this Harper poll right here, they have that R thing right there. But if you take a look at this poll conducted from the first to the second, it does show a tie. So as the race progressed, there was a larger chance of it being a tie. A poll that conducted just one day before from Gravis showed Clinton up 2%. So really, it was the final days until the election where voters actually made up their minds. And right now, Joe Biden at 51%. That's very good. And I think that state of Pennsylvania, his birth state, is in the bag right now for Joe Biden. I do not see Joe Biden losing the state of Pennsylvania. So next, I want to take a look at the state of Ohio, another state in which Joe Biden's doing pretty well in. As you can see, Joe Biden plus 0.6%. Is this state important to him? No. As you can see on this map, he's already at 270 electoral votes. So all these other states, they're just going to increase his margin of victory, increase his popular vote count, and give Donald Trump less of a reason to say that the election was rigged. So the state of Ohio plus 0.6 for President Trump. Biden is not at 50% here, but he's still doing better than Clinton. He's at 47%. If we were to take a look at the numbers here in 2016 at this current time, the 11th of October, Clinton plus 2.3. Clinton was again at 46%. Now, what you have to keep in mind is that Ohio has moved to the right from 2016. Biden might still be leading there, but if you replace Trump with a new Republican candidate and someone who did not have any of the baggage that Trump currently has, then I think they would definitely win Ohio, because Ohio and the Rust Belt is moving towards the right, but Trump is just a historically unpopular candidate, and Joe Biden is actually a very popular candidate. He's more popular than Barack Obama was going into the 2012 election. So Trump did win this state at the end by a whole 8.1%. As you can see, this Emerson poll, Emerson is a good pollster. So this poll conducted just 2 days or 3 days before the election, Trump plus 7. So Emerson, that is a good pollster, A- on 538. So it's not like Trafalgar Group or anything like that. So Trump did do very good in this poll at the very end. And as you can see, Clinton's numbers basically stayed the same, 44 to 43.2. Trump's numbers went up 5% compared to the polling average. Right now, I still think that's going to occur. I do think that Biden is going to lose this state because he's not going to win as much of the undecided votes. However, he is leading right now, and if the election is going to continue to go this way, if President Trump has another hell week, I do think that Ohio is definitely within reach for the former vice president. So the state of Ohio is currently tilt state for Joe Biden as of right now, and still doing better for Biden than it was for Clinton just 4 years ago. The state of Ohio, Biden plus a whole 1.2%. Pretty surprising to see Biden doing so well here. Quinnipiac University poll, Biden plus a whole 5%. As you can see, he's up at 47.5%. Trump has really never hit that 50% mark this entire time in Iowa. And I mean, last time he won this state by 9%, he led by 3% at the very end. State that he led in since basically August, and as you can see, of course, Biden would be doing better, but still, Trump never hit that 50% mark. His peak was 46.3%. At the very end, he won a whole 51.2%. So again, Clinton did not do worse. Trump just did much better than expected. I don't know why I'm breathing so hard, but state of Iowa, as you can see, Biden doing much better than Clinton was. And once again, just another good sign for the Biden campaign. And this is another state that Joe Biden doesn't even need at all. The state of Arizona, another state that he is currently expected to win, and a state that I do think is going to win. I do think Joe Biden will win Arizona, as I've said in every single one of my predictions. Arizona is moving to the left in the last couple of decades. It last went to the Democratic Party in 1996. But Trump's margin was not good here in 2016. 3.6%, that was pretty disappointing. And the Senate race here is going to be pretty not close. I mean, Martha McSally's not doing well, and Mark Kelly's definitely going to destroy her, in my opinion. He's going to do very, very well for a first-term senator in his first election. But Joe Biden plus 3.8% right now. 2016, as you can see, Trump won by 3.5%, led by 4% in the polls. This state was actually pretty close. Trump did lead at this point in time. But wow, 42 and 41%, that is a tiny margin. I mean, Trump didn't win a majority in the state of Arizona. And I mean, this is just because some of the votes did go to Evan McMullin here, I believe. So McMullin was able to win quite a bit of the vote share in Arizona, and especially in the state of Utah. So the voters here really did not like Clinton or Trump, but this time I guess it's looking like they're liking Biden a little bit more as well as liking Trump. I mean, Biden's now all the way up at 48.6%. That is basically the margin that Trump won. That's larger than the margin that Trump won in with in 2016. So Arizona is also going to go into the tilt column for the former vice president. So these states all polling so well for Joe Biden right now. I mean, Clinton was below in Iowa and Arizona at this time, but Biden is now ahead. He's already crossed 300 electoral votes. The state of North Carolina, 15 electoral votes. I mean, Biden plus 2.8. This is the largest lead he's seen in quite a while, since basically his peak in June and July. And then taking a look at the polls, Trump plus 3.6 after the election. He led by 0.8 before this. And this is actually a state that Clinton was doing pretty well in. She was polling very well in, but after the October surprise, after the reopening into her emails, her numbers plummeted in North Carolina, and she ended up losing the state. But on the 11th, I will give it to her. She was doing better in the state as well in terms of her average margin over Donald Trump, but it's only 45.8%. Biden now, I don't know why I can't talk today, but Biden is all the way up at 48.9%. So he's basically 1.1% away from that 50% mark. So still, Biden still has a higher percentage of the vote in his corner than Clinton did in 2016. So North Carolina, wow, is going to be a lean state for Joe Biden for the first time in a very long time. And then the state of Georgia, 16 electoral votes. As you can see, the state of Georgia plus 0.8 for Joe Biden right now. Another Biden state. He's at 47.5%. It's not that close, but as you can see, Trump only won with 50.5% of the vote last time. And of course, Clinton doing much worse than Biden is right now. On the 11th, Trump led by a whole 4.7%, a state that has not gone to a Democratic candidate since Hillary Clinton's husband, Bill Clinton, won it in 1992. So she did lose this state by, I believe, 5%. As you can see, 5.1%. So definitely not good numbers for Clinton last time. But not a state that she was expected to win. This state, along with Arizona and Texas, has moved quite a bit to the left. So again, Joe Biden is outperforming Clinton's margins once again in the state of Georgia. And then finally, we have the state of Florida, 20 non-electoral votes, very important to President Trump, and no Republican has been able to win the election without the state of Florida in decades. The state of Florida has gone to the election winner, I believe, in the last 6 elections, I believe. So Florida, it's basically been the deciding state. I mean, 2000, it was literally the deciding state. 2016, it's also very close. And it played a huge part in Trump's victory. If Trump did not win the state of Florida, he probably would not have won the election. I mean, he still technically could have, but I think that if Florida did not flip, I do not think that other voters from other states would have flipped for Donald Trump. The state of Florida, as you can see, Joe Biden plus 4.4%. He's up at 49%. That is big. I mean, taking a look at the polls in 2016, Trump at the very end, even though he won the state, he was only up at 47%, and he won the state with 48% of the vote. So as you can see, Biden already higher than Trump's average, 49%, and Clinton, of course, actually did better than our polling average. So, I mean, at this point in October, right here, the 11th of October, Clinton actually did pretty well in this state, but plus 3.2. She was up at 46.6%. So definitely nowhere near the 49% that Biden is up at right now. So the state of Florida is also going to go to Joe Biden with a lean margin. So basically what this map shows is that Joe Biden, yes, he's doing much better than Hillary Clinton. He is not trailing Clinton's 2016 edge. Definitely that is not true. Biden is doing much better. He's at 50% in the 3 key states and doing much better in terms of his percentage of the vote, because really it's those swing voters, and the less of them there are, the better it is for Joe Biden. As last time around, almost all of them swung towards the current president. But at this point in time, I do not think that Trump's going to do as well with those undecided voters as he did last time. However, still, if Biden's at 50%, there's nothing those undecided voters can do about it. So that's what Biden needs, and that is what he has. So this is the new 2020 electoral map. I mean, honestly, Texas right now would be a tilt state, South Carolina a lean state, Alaska also a lean state, I believe, not lean. South Carolina also lean, I believe, at this point in time. Many of these states just so close. Kansas, I believe, is also a lean state at this point in time, as well as Missouri. So many of these states have gone just so close. Right now, I think Utah is also a likely state. I may be wrong about that, but I'm gonna keep it in solid for right now. So definitely, Trump needs a better week next week. I think that if he has another quote-unquote hell week, he's going to lose the election. No question about that. He definitely does need to pick things up, because if Donald Trump if nothing good happens for President Trump until the election, he's going to probably lose Ohio and Georgia. I'm calling it right now. If nothing good happens for President Trump, if he isn't able to do something that really captivates the American public, or if nothing comes out about Joe Biden, he's not going to win this election. He's not going to win Ohio. He's not going to win Georgia. And so that is it for this video where we talked about this new report. Join my Discord if you have not, at the very top of the description below. That is the link to my public Discord. And so yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments below along with any suggestions for videos like this in the future. Like and subscribe if you have not. And I will see all of you guys in the next video.